Okay, we're going to talk about sudden oak death, which is a common name for Phytophthora ramorum. Now, this is a disease that is fairly new in oaks, and it's native to Northern California and some parts of Europe. What it does is it causes certain species of oaks to start getting sick, and they show these sicknesses by ambrosia on the barks, cankers that begin to they're called bleeding cankers because they produce this dark brown sap, and it protrudes from these cankers, so it almost looks like the tree is bleeding. We're going to talk about the mechanisms of how this works within the cell. So, Phytophthora ramorum is a type of oomocyte pathogen. So this is an oomocyte pathogen cell right here. And what it does is each of these cells, when they are trying to infect a host, they each contain a signal peptide, which is this is what it looks like right there. You'll see them in my little pictures. They contain a signal peptide and one N-terminal RXLR DEER motif, which is a type of signal that is responsible for delivering proteins into host plants. And the way that this is it's mediated by this large cell right here called phosphatidylinicidol 3-phosphate, which is a giant organic compound. This is what binds to the receptors here on top of the plant cell, and it's what allows the pathogen to enter the plant cell. So once we get into the plant cell, along with these RXLR, there's the specific signal for this pathogen that allows for takeover of the plant is AVH331. Now with plants, something that's unique to plants is their mitogen activated protein kinase is a signaling pathway that's effective for fighting off or trying to regulate pathogens or potential pathogens against the plant. However, pathogens over evolutionary have evolved to be able to manipulate this MAPK signaling pathway. Now, the specific one that I was talking about, this AVH1331, what it does is that it inhibits the MAPK at the signaling of the mitogen activated protein kinase, which causes complete and total takeover. So as you can see here is the regular signal being sent in red, then it's being taken over, and you get this new AVH331 controlled mitogen activated protein kinase. Now the bad part of that is that it promotes pathogen colonization, which means by the time this happened, the pathogen has successfully entered the plant cell, and this AVH331 signal now controls the MAPK signaling pathway, which leads to the total control of the host cell. Once it's taken over the host cell is when it starts creating, it sends these same kinds of signals that would normally protect the oak or the plant, is now working against it and causing it causes these sores, and it causes this ambrosia on the bark. So that's pretty much how the signaling works from first when it first tries to get into the cell, how it's mediated through this PI3P receptors on the cell. And now we know that this AVH331 is actually the main signal responsible for the genus of Phytophthora in general. But that's what it does is it takes this MAPK that normally helps for plant defense, and it takes over, which the plant is now unable to protect itself because it's almost like a parasite. It actually is a parasite. It's taking over the host and it's controlling it. And this is what causes all those symptoms, the ambrosia and the bleeding of the cankers. And that's it for sudden oak death.